Hello children, how are you all? Happy? And I believe you are all safe, following the safety measures insisted by our government during this pandemic time. Being a citizen of this country, we are bound to follow that. Keep in mind that you use face mask and sanitizers at the right time very intelligently. Protect yourself as well as the society. Normally we say that future lies in our hands, and it's so apt right now. Our life lies in our own hand. Okay, so I hope you will do that. Being children, I know the difficulty on getting restricted in so many ways right now. It's time for you to enjoy, time for you to relax, time to have a good relationship with your friends. Unfortunately, the spirit of uncertainty has come. But we are bold children, we are courageous children who could face all these challenges and overcome. We will overcome everything and it becomes a lesson for tomorrow. Okay, so keep yourself courageous, hoping for the very best future. Be positive, be optimistic. Okay, never get depressed on this situation. It doesn't last long. Everything has an end. So let us all pray for a peaceful, harmonious life for each and every one in this world. Okay? Yes. Coming back to our lesson. This first unit, Flights of Freedom, isn't it? Yes. Flights of Freedom is completely insisting with women empowerment. Are you getting bored of always talking about women empowerment? No, isn't it? Because it is that essential as the air we breathe, as we have spoken in the previous classes. Okay, and the previous lesson was Matchbox, a story written by Asha Purna Devi, and it was a very good response from your side to move on with this lesson. Congratulations for everyone who has supported this venture. Okay, so there we have seen the character Namita. Towards the end of the story, she is totally getting annoyed. She even goes to an extent of burning her ankle, that is pallu of a sari, to threaten her husband Ajit. See to the relationship of this husband and wife. Is it that good? No. To my personal experience, I would like to tell that patience and trust are the twin virtues for a happy married life. And even she is not able to express her true self. Honestly to speak, she was not allowed to express her true self. Though she was married to a filthy rich family, it doesn't bring a big change in her personal life. That's really disturbing me. So money is not a matter. Peace of mind. And even the purest relationship between a mother and a daughter is getting strained after a marriage. Pitiable condition. It's not only in the story. I feel that it happens in each and every house of India. Okay, when you get suppressed, when you get irritated wherever you go, what normally happens is you lose the fabric of your mind and you get bursted up. You burst up yourself because you need a vent to release your emotions. How long you can keep up? How long you can maintain? How long you can withstand all these pressures? So even we undergo the same situation like Nomita, I feel, because you children know at home, though you are with your parents, your siblings, you enjoy your life, still you miss something very badly. I think it is friends. You are connected to them through network, but you miss them very personally. This adolescent period is the time to have fun with your friends, to crack jokes with your friends, and to boost up your mind with evergreen memories for the next tenure of our life. Yes, am I not right? So, what might be the condition of Nomita? Even Nomita might be in search of somebody else to pour out her emotions, right? She needs a person to speak her feelings, her heart. Even her better half is not so supportive to listen to her. If you are in the position of Nomita, what would have you done? Maybe you run to a person whom you trust, whom you believe, whom you love. Either you weep off, or you share your feelings, or you shout and you release it, and then it's okay, isn't it? Let me ask you one thing. Imagine you go for a journey. How would you wish to go? Is it with a heavy luggage or with a minimum luggage with free hands? I am sure that you will opt for the second one, because you need to enjoy your journey. If it happens to be on the other side, you have so many bags at your shoulders as well as your hands, even in your head, and you go for a walk, what might be your experience? Will your journey be pleasant? No. What will happen is every now and then you will take a break, you will sit somewhere else, leave the burdens down, rest, relax, regain the energy and move for the next journey, isn't it? So, you need a Horrigaloo. So, what is Horrigaloo? Horrigaloo is a Kannada word which means a stone that can bear weight. It is like a horizontal stone laid over two vertical stones. Such things is very common in rural areas. You might have seen that. Or else it can be a stone bench around a tree. Okay. And it is a story, it is an anecdote. Horrigaloo is an anecdote. So, here life, it is related with a life. Horrigaloo is a story, is an anecdote written by Sudhamurthy. Sudhamurthy is very familiar to this young generation, very inspiring stories is hers, and let us see who Sudhamurthy is. And now you have seen, you understood who Sudhamurthy is. She tries to bring out the real life experience. Actually, life, it means a lot. It is not at all a bed of roses. It is full of challenges, conflicts, crises. And once when you come across such situations, what are we supposed to do? Give up the task and run away at our back? No. Stand there, fight for it. So when such things come, stay somewhere else. Relax your burdens. Relieve your stress. Gather up your energy. Boost up yourself with some optimistic thoughts. Find a person for solace, and life becomes a celebration. So, here the theme and message of the lesson is sharing and caring for social togetherness. Definitely it is much necessary in this society, sharing and caring. Okay, and the main characters are the author Sudhamurthy, her grandfather, and Ratna, a senior clerk whom she comes across. Yes, let us see what this Horigalu wished to speak with us. Okay, we all need a sympathetic listener in our life, isn't it? So, in a journey, as physical rest, we need a mental rest too, isn't it? So, here we have a small anecdote where Sudhamurthy tries to recollect her childhood days and shares with us an experience to be taken up throughout our life. Okay. Remembering the good old childhood days often fills our mind with freshness and vigor and revitalizes us enough to go forward with confidence. Yes, it's very true. So, our childhood memories, we take it as a treasure in our heart, isn't it? Whenever we are fed up with certain emotions, we try to take it out, polish it, refresh it, boost us with energy, and then we will keep safe for the next time to be taken. In the same way, Sudhamurthy also tries to share or recollect her childhood days. Very interesting. Okay. You can get a very good picture of a village life, and also she connects it with her professional life. Okay. So, Horigalu, I have said it is a Kannada word. And also I have said Horigalu symbolizes or stands as symbolism for a social worker. Shall I begin with the lesson? Okay. Hot summer days remind me of my childhood in a little village. There was a large banyan tree right in the middle of the village, and I would spend many hours playing under it during my holidays. So interesting. Even we have such memories, right? Under the trees, in the backyard, in the front yard, in the temple, or during festivals, isn't it? So, here she says that I would spend many hours playing under it during my holidays. The tree was like a massive umbrella with its branches providing much needed shade and succor. Succor, it is like help, assistance, relief, aid. Okay. Travelers spent some time sitting under it and catching their breath before going on their way. To make them comfortable, there was a Horigalu under the tree. Horigalu, we have set a stone bench under the tree. You can immediately connect it to the banyan trees in the temple side, where people gather around the tree, sitting there, sharing their daily routine or their feelings, worries, emotions, happiness. Here we can tell about when you share your happiness, joy, it multiplies, and when you share your sorrows, it gets divided. Okay. So, here Horigalu takes an important role or important place where you can multiply your joy and divide your sorrows. Horigalu literally means a stone that can bear weight. It was a large flat stone placed horizontally over two vertical ones, thus making a stone bench on which anyone could sit and rest a while, chat with a fellow traveller and exchange news on the road. Cool water would be kept in earthen pots near the bench, and people could quench their thirst before starting their journeys again. I am sure similar simple arrangements can be found in the villages all over the country. Yes, we might have seen it. The Horigalu in our village holds special memories for me as it is inextricably linked with my grandfather. I can never forget this Horigalu in my lifetime because it is very strongly connected with my grandfather. Not possible to forget my grandfather. In the same way as it is connected with my grandfather, I will never forget about this Horigalu tree in my life. And let me tell about who my grandfather is. He was a retired school teacher and would spend hours every day sitting under the banyan tree and talking to those resting there. When I would get tired of playing, I would sit next to him and observe the people he was speaking to and listen to their chats, conversations. Curious, no? Children, always they are very curious. Once they are tired, they stand, roam behind their parents or grandparents to know what these people are doing. Most of them were villagers taking a break from their work in the fields nearby. They had to walk long distances each day, carrying heavy burdens on their heads. Tired out by the heat, they would drink the cool water, wash their faces with it and chat with grandfather. Their conversation would be about their daily lives and worries. Yes, have you seen old people or even your grandparents? Might be the whole day they might be complaining about their sickness, illness, worries, frustrations, but by the time evening they will be very active, they will get dressed up and they will start going for a walk. Let me go, let me relax and come. So where they go and get collected as gatherers under this tree or where there is a Horigalu, the stone bench. What might be the common conversation going on there? Might be the breakfast or about their health issues or about their family members, whether they are taken care of or about going to a doctor, anything else. And the first conversation what they will begin with is related to the weather, isn't it? Yes, here too. Master Ji, this summer has been so hot. I have never seen such dry weather. Or, Master Ji, it is getting difficult for me to carry these large loads on my head. Thank God for this Horigalu. So they praise this Horigalu. Why? It had been a place or it has been a place for them to rest for a while, only for a while. Even to that, they are grateful to and they say, there had not been a Horigalu, they will not get a place to take rest. And their journey is going to be too weird. And few more conversations, what it might be. I wish my son would help, but he only wants to go to the city. They spoke about the difficulties they lived with. My grandfather could only listen to them, but just talking to him seemed to refresh them for a journey. What my grandfather does during those days is just simply listening to them. Even sitting nearby him gave them an energy. Such a positive man was my grandfather. Listening to everybody's worries and problems is not that easy, isn't it? We people, we are not able to bear our own problems. Then how is it possible to listen to others too? So to listen to others' problem, you should be that positive, confident, sportive, optimistic, isn't it? Okay. My grandfather could only listen to them, but just talking to him seemed to refresh them for the journey. After some time, they would pick up their burdens with some ease and go on their way. That gave happiness to my grandfather. The Horigalu was an important feature in their lives, and as a child, I would often not understand why they blessed it so often for being there. I was so innocent those days to understand this huge concept behind this Horigalu. After all, it was only a stone bench for me when I was a child, but now I know the importance of a Horigalu. It was my grandfather who told me, educated me, telling, child, a Horigalu is essential in any journey. We all carry our burdens according to our situations and capacities. But every once in a while, we need to stop, put down that burden and rest. Only then can we be refreshed enough to pick up the load once more. The Horigalo gives everyone that opportunity to do so. It helps people regain their strength. If there is no Horigalo, nobody could take rest. They will have to go for a tiresome journey. Later on in life, I got to see something that reminded me of the stone bench once again. I was working in Mumbai. One of my colleagues, Ratna, was a senior clerk, middle-aged and always smiling. It's not possible. For me, it is not possible to smile always. It's very difficult. Why? Sometimes face is the index of mind. Everything will be reflected. But some people are there, they'll keep always smiling. Even if the mountain get turned up, they'll go with the same pace, same energy, courage, smile, strength. And Ratna was one such person, always smiling. It's a very positive character. If possible, we will have to practice it. She had done her graduation and had been working in the company for nearly 25 years, not a toddler in the profession. She has an experience of 25 years. She went about her repetitive, mundane work with an infectious cheerfulness. Once when you get bored, you'll say, oh, it's boring, I cannot bear with it. But this Ratna was quite different. She did a tiresome work, tedious job with a broad smile. Here, cheerfulness is infectious. Infectious spreads. Once you start laughing, everybody will start laughing. It spreads a lot. As once when you start yawning, everybody will yawn too. Every day during the lunch hour, she would sit with some person in one of the rooms and they would have long chats. I would often wonder what they had talked about. One day I could not resist myself. I went to her and I asked, Ratna, what do you talk with each person for the whole lunch hour? Ratna smiled and said simply, they share their troubles with me. Still I had few more doubts. I went on, I kept on asking my doubts. I raised my doubts. But how can you solve the troubles of so many people? When it becomes difficult for me, even I doubt you. How can you do it? Do you always have any answer for them? No. I only listen was a very simple answer. And that is enough. I was wondering, is that enough? Just listening to a person's worries, will it give a solution for them? That solves the problem? I was too young at that time and incredulous. I was unable to believe that at such a simplistic outlook. But Ratna answered with the same patience and affection that she must have used with all my colleagues. She didn't get irritated by my chain of questions. She had patience. She had the same smile. Now I think she might have used the same technique with others. That's why people flocked to her to speak. What she said is, I am not a trained counselor or an intellectual. No one can solve your problem. It is a general truth. Law of nature. You have to do it yourself. Once you encounter a problem, you will have to find the solution for it, not anybody else. Right now, during this COVID-19 lockdown period, we were all stressed as we were, restricted with so many rules and regulations. Though we were connected with friends, so we got a mental breakdown. We even went to a path of depression. We took our own solutions, that is ending up with a tragedy? Never. So here what happens is, just try to speak it out to somebody else. Once when you feel stressed or burdened with so many tensions, try to find a person, apt person. So nobody can give a solution for your problem is the important phrase that you have to underline. Find your own solution. Just get the support and guidance of others. Then how do you help them? By listening to them. Again she had a very funny, simple, interesting answer that we can never trust with. She said, I have 2 years. What do we use it for? We say, why God has given 2 years? It is to listen through 1 year and leave it through the other. Never bother about these people saying something about you. Ignore it. But what Ratna says is that God has given me 2 years to listen from everybody else. I hear them out with sympathy and without any judgment. When a person is in trouble or under a lot of strain, finds an outlet for his worries, it relieves half of his burden. That is enough. You go and pour it out to somebody else, half of your burden is released. I thought for some time and said, but don't you ever break the confidence and tell others the secrets you hear? Even by mistake, I couldn't believe what Ratna was doing. Normally, a common human being, if anybody listens to somebody's personal issues, we cannot resist our tongue. It is so flexible and we go to somebody else, say, this is what happening in that person's life. She came and said to me, don't tell it to anybody else, okay? It is a secret between me and you. Once when you say it is a secret between you and me, it's gone. Okay, so here you cannot control yourself. But how does this Ratna control herself? She says, a moral value or quality, not even in my dreams I do that. I consider that to be the worst kind of betrayal. I never breached the promise of the person who has confidence in me, who trusts me. I don't think there is a greater sin. I don't think there is a greater sin than betraying someone's confidence. They tell me their worries because they know I will never talk about it or gossip about it to another person. Not a single word will come from my mouth. They know me. It's not today or yesterday I started this work. Years long, years together I am doing the same thing. So people will read me, they will understand me. Not a single word will escape from my mouth. Only when they know their words are secure with me, safe with me, locked within me, can they talk to me freely. This way, I relieve their burden for a short while till they are ready to pick themselves up and carry on with their journey. I support them until they are able to face their challenges independently or individually. Until then I will leave them. That support is enough, more than enough for them. Now, realization strikes Sudhamurthy. She says, her words uncannily echoed my grandfather's. It was so strange to me. It was so mysterious to me. I could relate Ratna with my grandfather sitting on the stone bench under the banyan tree. Perhaps in their own small ways, without access to great wealth. They do a social service. Social service itself without expecting anything in return. Nobility in service is felt here. Even now, counseling has turned to be a business. Okay. No one thought of acknowledging their work or rewarding them for it. But they continued to do so as these acts of kindness gave them joy. Normally people, what they do is, if once you get recognition or acceptance from others, you proceed with that work or else you will drop it off. But these people, no, they never expect a reward or recognition or accolades from others, without expecting anything in return, they move on with their own work, unmindful of what wealth they get in return. Because their need was to see the smile in others' face. Their joy is to find happiness in others. If ever now I happen to pass a Horigalu in a village, if I get a chance to pass through a Horigalu in my village, I remember them and wish there were many more of them in the world. Whenever I happen to see a Horigalu, I think about having so many Horigalus in the world. Why? There are people who need them very badly in their life. See, if so many Horigalus are there, everybody can take a rest, relax, regain strength and move forward. This is how she ends up with her anecdote. And do you agree with the last statement what Sudhamurti has said? There is a need for so many Horigalus in the world. And again my next question is that, how can you relate grandfather Ratna and Horigalu in the same table? And also find the character sketch of grandfather and Ratna. And along with that, one more task is that, if Nomita happens to meet this Ratna, what would be her emotional output? Fine. The last part, 2-3 questions I have given you, all these things should be answered, and then next session I am planning for an interesting part. Okay, if you have any doubts regarding this adolescent age or your stress, please drop in questions about your doubts to me, and I will get a support of an expert to come forward to help you. Okay, until I see you again, a hi, bye from this Gurukulam family. Thank you.